Greetings, Alvis Tennant here, 50 plus years of martial and healing arts training. Good to see you today. Today I want to talk about something that's really helped me in my martial and healing arts journey, as well as helped me professionally. But I'm going to talk to you about a very simple process called goal setting, or having something that you're working towards. For instance, when I first began training in karate, the goal was, to get to be a green belt. I think there was white, yellow, orange, purple, blue, green. I mean, there were a lot of belts, but the green was like next to the brown, which then you're black. And the green, all the green belts I saw were really good. Take some time and some effort to get to that level. But I worked very diligently to achieve that and was able to get there. And that focus of that goal intensified my training and gave me something to work towards. Of course, once I got the green, my goal was black, which I did receive in Okinawa many years later. So I was 15, I think I was probably 19 at the time I left Okinawa. I was there from 18 to 19, 13 months. But that goal, having that goal just kept me so motivated. It's on top of wanting to have martial arts, this is a broad goal, wanting to just be a martial artist, wanting to be the next Bruce Lee, Muhammad Ali. That's a broad goal, but when you specify it and confine it to a point, your training takes on another dimension. And I got that, and then the next goal was there was a full contact tournament coming up in Camp Pendleton, where I was stationed after Okinawa. And I had the goal to fight in this tournament. Of course, I wanted to win, but the main thing I wanted to do was fight. I went to that tournament. This was 1977. I trained so diligently by having sparring sessions with people, running and lifting push-ups and a lot of strength training exercises, and I was prepared. And I ran a lot and did a lot of rounds of sparring. So that's one of the greatest ways to prepare for a fight, is to fight. How do you learn how to swim? You got to swim. So when I got to that tournament, from the training, it was like I was looking at it as though I started in 1972. I've trained 5 years to come right here. All my training now is right at this point. And I got to that point and had a beautiful tournament. And I actually won. And I was the middleweight, Camp Pendleton middleweight champion, karate, full contact karate champion. I felt so proud, and I felt so happy that it had all come together for me. But I think having that goal made it that much more important for me to continue to train every day. And I've always had those goals. So after that, it was I would continue to train. I came to college, and I don't think I competed anymore until I not officially. I was always doing a lot of sparring with people. I was staying pretty sharp. But when I met Dr. G in 1984, go back and look at that one. If you haven't looked at it, go back and look at that. My evolution in the Bando martial arts. So Bando, as I said, my time is 50 plus years of training. About 40 of those years have been in Bando. But anyway, in 1984, I began training in Bando. But in 1986, I went to my first Bando kickboxing match. Now, we trained diligently for that point for a good 3 months, a good 12 weeks. In that time, I was training like a professional boxer. I did a lot of rounds of boxing, which got me very accurate with my hand striking, and good defensive skills, the feet. But my point is that that training now, when I went to that tournament in 1986, I said to myself, I've been training for this tournament since 1972, since I began training. And I went to that, that was my apex point. And I had a great night. I became the national Bondo middleweight champion. 150 to 160 was my weight class. And I felt so good about it. And I continued to train other people, train other fighters. And I continued to spar, and I did it again in 1987. Went back again and did it. And the point is that having a goal helps to solidify your training, helps to crystallize what you're doing. So it's always good to have those goals. And as I continued in Bondo and training and practice, I began to train, doing more training of my son and some of his friends and others. And in 2004, I began to study the Cobra system. And I had some stick forms from Dr. G as well as sword. So I would compete in these Bondo tournaments in 2004, 2005. I don't think I won anything until about 2007, 6 or 7. Many times I would go, but it was like something I had to do every year because I'd take my students there. That was the main thing, but I also would jump in there and compete, not in fighting, but in forms, empty hand, stick, and edge weapon form. And that kept me focused. In 2008, I won first place in a karate tournament. It's called the Wayne Whalen tournament. I won first place in weapons, first place in empty hand form, first place in spear, and a first place in empty hand form. And that crystallized to me. Now, one of the very memorable points of my training, where I put it all together for one day of training, was we had an animal camp in Bondo. So there's 9 animals in Bondo, and we all the animal systems got together with the teachers and the practitioners, and we practiced, showed how we practiced, and then we of course all displayed our form. So that I'm a Cobra. That's my animal. That's why I earned this patch. I'm very proud of this. 2010. Now we trained, the Cobra team, we trained for a good 9 months, 2-3 times a month together. And of course everybody individually had to train themselves because we did something, synchronistically as a team. So we had to meet together. And I was going up, I'm in North Carolina, I was going up to Baltimore to do this training, but I was determined to be a part of it and kept that thing going. And so in 2010, we went to that animal camp and we had a great camp. We didn't get first place animal. I think the tiger or the scorpion got first place. The tiger got second place, and the cobra got third place. There are 9 animals. So you got the cobra, the viper, and the python. You have cobra, viper, python, panther, tiger, bull, boar, scorpion, eagle. Those are the 9 animals. But they were all there displaying wonderful techniques, and it was a very bonding experience for all of us animal practitioners to get together with the grandmaster there, and people came from other systems. But my point is, there again, when I went to that camp, I would say, I've been training for this camp since 1972. And I would go. And it was a beautiful night, a beautiful day, beautiful time. But my point is that the training, you want to have some type of focus in your training. Now I keep a constant focus because I'm primarily a practitioner. I want to just practice. I practice what I preach. But it adds another dimension when you have an actual goal. My goal now is to continue to train until I'm 90. And then at 90, I'll reevaluate it. But I've got to keep going to 90. And I just wanted to share with you that importance of setting a goal. Now, I've actually extrapolated some of these qualities into my professional life. So the quality to be a student and to learn things helped me professionally as well. In 2015, I found myself unemployed, and I'm looking for a new profession, new opportunity. And I interviewed, just to practice my interviewing skills, with this group of young dudes that had a computer startup that they were going to build up and then sell, and become multimillionaires. It was a retention marketing company where we would sell Google, help companies get a higher ranking in the Google space, when somebody searched their company. But it was a retention marketing company, Google Analytics, and I didn't know what they were talking about. But I went and I took the interview, and as I took the interview, I just was doing it to practice. I didn't think that there was a snowball's chance in hell they would hire me. First of all, I show up 60 plus years old in a shirt and tie. They're sitting there in flip-flops and sandals and t-shirts. The old guy was 34 years old. The guy interviewing me was about 26. And the guy on my teams, they were like early 20s. So I didn't think that I would get there, but as I talked to them, they called me and they offered a job. I actually worked there for about 6 months. Great time. But I learned, I knew that I had to learn. So I took crash course in doing campaigns and trying to learn the lingo, and it was very intense. But having that goal helped me to stay focused. Fast forward to later on in the later part of 2015, towards the end, in October, I was hired by Fidelity Investments. One of the questions they asked me was, you have quite a bit of experience. When was the last time you learned something new? And I was so happy I could say, well, 6 months ago I learned how to sell computer software. I've been doing that now for about 5 months, and I'm ready to. My learning muscle had been opened back up, so that ability to learn was on me. And then I had a goal and got hired by Fidelity, and that was even more intense than the startup company. But I stuck in there and stayed, and had the goal to be a top performer there and actually achieve that goal. So that aspect of goal setting, of moving forward, goes right in line with what I was talking about with consistency, with metacognition. When you have a goal and you have an objective in mind, you want to see it and believe it. I want to thank you again for being a part of my program. We're a community, and I appreciate the feedback. I've been getting a lot of feedback on the quotes that I'm leaving and some questions. I've answered some of the questions in these interviews and want to continue to work with you. Please feel free to like, subscribe, and share. And if you'd like to do me a favor and do yourself a favor, grab something from the website and begin to practice it for the next 21 days. And ping me. Let me know how it works out and the benefits you got from it. And I want to thank you again, and I want you to never forget, you're born to win.